You ready?
Boom! I'm always ready. I'm always ready. I am so excited. Season 2, that's right. Season 2 was standing on the bridge of gapping this whole thing between community and policing. I love it. Bridging the gap. I am your host, Darryn Chenault, Officer Darryn Chenault, and I'm here with my co-host,
Kelly Cantwell, and did I not say he was going to be loud?
I am loud. I love being loud. I have my AC with us today. AC stands for Assistant Chief Dudley Smith. How you doing today, Dudley?
Very good. Thank you.
Great. I told you I get excited when I do stuff like this. And I have some special friends from UC Student Government. So I'm going to start at the far end. Go ahead and introduce yourself and let everybody know who you are and what you do.
Yup. My name is Zohair Siddiqui. I'm an incoming senior at the University of Cincinnati, and I'm our student body vice president.
I love it.
Hi, everyone. My name is Wilaini Alicea. I'm also a rising fourth year, and I'm the student body president.
That's awesome. I'm going to go ahead and give the mic over to our assistant chief here. Do a little background on you, where you've been, how long you've been with the university.
Sure. I have been here since 2001, so I'm coming up on my 25th year being at the university after I graduated from UC with my undergrad. So between being a student and working here, I have actually been on this campus for 30 years, plus my parents worked here at various times, so I kind of grew up on the campus, and I've been a Bearcat pretty much my entire life.
Awesome.
That's good stuff right there. Good stuff. I know the game is going to, or we're going to flip the game a little bit. Kelly and I always do the questions. This time, we're going to flip it over to you guys to ask the questions to us, and hopefully we answer them in a great way that you guys get excited about.
Yeah,
Did I
definitely.
say that right, Kelly? Because I see you smiling at me.
Darren, that was perfect.
I know
Thank
it
you.
was. I know it was.
All right, you guys ready to get started then?
Yes, do it.
We are
Okay.
ready.
Well, I guess a good first question then would be kind of talking about who is UCPD, and then also how is it different from the Cincinnati Police Department that we have?
It's a great question. So we are our own law enforcement agency. Our primary jurisdiction is all the property that is owned and controlled by the Board of Trustees of the University of Cincinnati. So we are a fully sworn and trained law enforcement agency. We go through the exact same training that any other police officer in the state of Ohio has to go through, which is usually about a 6-month police academy. There's a training program, and then we have continuing education stuff that we have to do every year to keep our certification up. So all of that stuff, we have every officer goes through all of that. Not only do we have sworn officers, but we have our own standalone 911 center, one of only 3 in Hamilton County. So it's Hamilton County, Cincinnati Police Department, and our department has their own 911 system.
Nice.
Center. We also have some uniformed security officers that are not sworn. However, they are there as a uniform presence. They can assist us when it comes if we need to have a little extra hands on deck, kind of a thing. They work some details for us. You'll see them a lot at some of the regional campuses, and then they also do things like motorist assists and things like that. We also have, as part of public safety, we have an emergency management section. So they kind of help do business continuity for the university, come up with plans for, making sure that the daily functions of the university can occur, even though something is disrupting.
Yeah.
Could be a power outage, it could be a water thing, it could be a storm, something. They also help us control and manage the large events that are on campus. So we're a lot like Cincinnati Police or any other police agency. However, our focus is here on campus. Did that answer?
Yeah, definitely. And I think sometimes one of the confusions can be is what counts as campus? How do we know what's owned by the Board of Trustees in terms of property, and how do we know who to call, whether that's the Cincinnati Police Department or UCPD?
Yep. So that is a very complicated area. We constantly struggle because the university has property that kind of all over the really Hamilton County and Claremont County, right? So we have the Claremont campus, right? And then throughout, mostly around the uptown area here, we have the main campus, which is, where most people would associate the university of being, between Calhoun Martin Luther King, Jefferson, and Clifton Avenue is the main campus. But we also have the medical campus over around the hospital, which is the medical science building and the pharmacy college and areas over there. But then there's also like the observatory out in, which is actually lies in the middle of, I think it's District 2 of the Cincinnati Police Department. And then we have like Center Hill, which is over on the up off of like North Bend Road area. And then we have the Blue Ash campus. Sprinkled throughout the area are a lot of little individual properties here and there that the university also is responsible for. So we will take reports for things that occur there. But probably the question where you're trying to get the most information is, if I'm a student and I live off campus, who do I call?
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So you can always call us. It may not be our jurisdiction, but we will always be there to help. We will either respond. We will always respond if we have somebody available. But if it's not our jurisdiction, we'll be there and we'll help you get the right resources. So we have, there's some block leases, for example, right? So those are not university-owned properties, but there's an agreement that the university has with the property owner where they lease that out to students, right? So if something happens in a block lease, for example, it's not our jurisdiction, but you can always call us. The CPD will respond and do like an offense report if an offense occurs. We'll be there to help provide other resources and make sure that what the student needs, they can get as best we can.
Yeah.
Right?
Cool. And does that work vice versa as well on the Cincinnati Police Department side? What does your partnership with them look like?
We have a very good working relationship with the Cincinnati Police Department. So quite typically, if they get called to an area around campus that involves a student, and they know that it's a student, they'll probably call us anyway, because they know that there are resources that we can help get that student. The flip side of that is also sometimes they would defer to us to handle the situation. You know, they kind of have the same mindset that we do a lot of times of, let's face it, students are exploring, right? They're especially newer students to the area. It's maybe their first time living away from home. Maybe not always making the wisest of decisions. And if they cross the line, you know, Cincinnati Police, they really either have to make an arrest or they have to let it go. Well, sometimes you don't want to do either one of them, right? That's where we could come in, because there's things that we can do through student code of conduct where, you know, maybe it's not, you know, worth taking somebody to jail and ruining the rest of their life and creating a criminal record. But at the same time, it can't go unnoticed and unchecked. So we have that kind of middle ground where we can bridge that gap, so to speak, where we can help get, you know, a relatively easier solution, if you will. You know, we look at our role in the university. If you look at the university as in general, why does the university exist? Provide education and conduct research, right? In order to do that, you have to have a safe environment. We're here to also provide an education, right? So we want to take those type of opportunities and use those as a learning opportunity. We can do that a little bit easier going through student code of conduct rather than go through the criminal justice system. So we would prefer to do that. Sometimes we can't. We don't have the choice. It has to go through the criminal justice system. But a lot of times we just try to do the best we can, making it a learning opportunity and going through student code of conduct.
I think.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, just to add a little bit to what Dudley touched on earlier, for like knowing when to call UC Police versus Cincinnati Police. I think one important thing that I say when I speak to students about this is, at the end of the day, you can always call 911, and they will get you to whatever agency you need, rather than, you know, students worrying about like, oh, who do I call in this situation? I don't know. You can always call 911. And if you call 911, even if you're standing on campus, if you call 911 on your cell phone, you're not going to come to our dispatch center. So you're still going to end up at the city or possibly the county or allegedly on a random hill, maybe northern Kentucky. But, you know, you just let them know your location and they will get you to the right agency. So I think, just call someone and, we work very closely together. We will get you to the person that you need.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It's very easy for Cincinnati's communications center and our communications center to transfer the 911 calls. So if you do call 911 and it goes to the city of Cincinnati and it's not their jurisdiction, it actually is ours, they can very easily transfer it over to us. Our dispatcher will then handle it and take care of it from there, dispatch officers appropriately.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And kind of on the same page, you kind of talked about those situations, especially like at night when a student might be feeling unsafe on campus or, excuse me, sorry, like maybe a little bit off of campus. How should a student know what resources are available, especially for partying safe, or maybe they're living off of campus and something happens at night, or they're walking home in one of the business districts? What resources are available for those students?
You want to take first shot at it?
Sure. So I'm the person who pushes the most for our campus safety app in the department. That's a lot of what I do with the communications that I push out. So two things that I like to highlight about the Bearcat Guardian app, which is our department's campus safety app. The first is the, and I'm blanking on what it is. You can use it, you can send your location to a friend or to public safety. So if you you can send it to anyone in your cell phone contacts, and it'll text them with a link, and they can watch you as you're walking, or even theoretically, you could use it in an Uber. You don't have to be
That's
walking,
awesome.
but they can follow along as you're going to your location. So you can put in the time up to 4 hours. There are notes in there, so you could say, I'm walking to the library, or I'm walking back to my residence hall, or something to let the person you're sending this to know where you're going. And then it'll prompt you if you don't turn off your safety timer in time and be like, hey, do you want to turn this off? And if your safety timer doesn't get turned off in time, it will let your friend or family know that you haven't turned it off. They can check in on you. If you choose public safety as they call it guardian. If you choose public safety as your guardian, which you could choose a friend and public safety, or you could just pick one, the dispatchers aren't going to watch you as you're walking to wherever you're going, but they will receive an alert if you do not turn off your safety timer with your location, anything you put in your safety profile. So maybe if you had like a medical condition that might play a role in why you haven't turned off your safety timer, we would get that information. It allows the dispatcher to attempt to contact you and make sure you're okay. And if they can't get a hold of you, at that point, they could reach out to one of our officers on patrol and try to find you. And then our officer would have all of your safety profile information. So your name, your vehicle, your local address, medical conditions, your emergency contacts. They get all that information in that situation.
That's awesome.
So that we have all that and we can do whatever we can to assist you. The other thing I love about the Guardian app is it allows you to essentially text a dispatcher. So there's a chat feature. You can go in, you can send photos, you can share locations. You should always call 911 first, but the chat feature is a really great backup if you're in a situation that's not an emergency, or if you're in a situation where making a phone call to 911 would escalate the situation. You can use the chat feature. It's similar to the safety timer. It sends a really loud blaring noise on the dispatcher's computer. They are not going to miss it. And then you can talk back and forth with them. It also includes an anonymous feature. So if you're uncomfortable letting dispatch know, then they will, you can send it anonymously too. We would love to have your contact information. That way we can ask follow-up questions if we have them. But if the option is telling us versus not telling us, we would like the information.
Yeah.
Just to chime in too, I mean, when in doubt, call the police department. I know a lot of times we get this, we go out and talk to UC students, just call us. If something's not right, I had kids go through the University of Cincinnati. If they felt like something was going on or they were concerned about something, call us. That's the easiest way to put it. As a police officer, we just always like to tell our kids just to be safe.
Yeah. That makes sense. I guess the question that I had then here is in a hypothetical, which I think often happens with college students, is you lose your phone. You're outside, you're partying late night, and your phone gets lost. You don't have access to the Guardian app, but you still got to get home. What steps might a student take in a situation like that to make sure that they get home safely and are contacting the right people to do so?
So if you're on campus, there are blue help phones all over campus. There's a lot of them. So hit one of those that rings right into our dispatch center. And so it's manned 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Somebody will always be there to answer that help phone. You can get some guidance there. They can send somebody to you if you need it. They can help you find your way. If you happen to be lost, anything, it's full service help phone. Off campus is a little trickier, and that's probably where you're going to have to just rely on a friend, or borrow somebody's phone, something like that. But anywhere on campus, there's blue help phones, indoors, outdoors. There's various places around campus. There's area of rescue assistance. You can actually, I believe every elevator on campus you can hit the button there, and it brings it to us too.
So for a student that does use one of those resources where they call UCPD, what can they expect? Sometimes it can be intimidating for students to have to call a police officer and they don't know what exactly that process will look like, so they're afraid to do it. Can you kind of walk through what exactly would happen from the moment somebody calls UCPD up until, I guess, getting home safely?
Sure. I would love to say that it's service with a smile is what you're going to get. However, the circumstances will always dictate what the response is, right? Yeah. So if it's something as simple as, hey, I need a ride, or I'm lost, or can you help me find whatever, those are easy. We'll send an officer as quick as we can and help you out. Things that are more emergent, it really depends on the situation, right? So we always have to respond to the information that's given to us. So the more information that we get when we get called, the better our response will be, the more appropriate that response will be. I don't know if that helps clarify a little bit there, but it's really hard to say. It really depends on the situation. Yeah,
no, that makes sense. That makes sense.
So kind of my question, this is just a question that I kind of thought of. When a student might be feeling unsafe, whether it's like during the day on campus or they might feel unsafe like walking out to their car, do you guys provide any resources or maybe like escorting just in case a student might be feeling unsafe on campus, or there might be like a separate situation, whether it's like something from home infringing on their experience on campus, or maybe they had a bad experience with a roommate. How do you guys handle those types of situations?
So there's a couple different ways that we can handle that. If it's an ongoing thing where, let's say, there's a history between a victim and an offender, right? We have a crime victim service coordinator in our department that can help create a safety plan. She has a lot of resources throughout the university that can help get classes changed, get room assignments changed. If it's something that would, help the situation, if that will help alleviate the problem, she has all kinds of resources that will be able to help move that process along. She'll also be able to help you get things like protection orders, civil protection orders, temporary protection orders, things like that. If you happen to become a victim of a crime, she'll help you navigate through what that court process looks like too. As a victim, she'll make sure that you have all the information going into your court case, what to expect, other types of victim services that are available to you. If it's something as simple as, I don't feel safe walking to my car, always call us. Always call us. We will do it. We may not be able to respond right away. It depends on what's going on, because we're responsible for a very large area actually, and a lot of people. Our population here is kind of like a small city, so we don't always have somebody available. But as soon as we do have somebody available, we'll get to you and we'll help you out.
That's awesome.
And just to add a little bit to our victim services that Dudley talked about, because I think this is a resource that students don't know that we have, but I think it's very valuable. You do not have to be a victim of a crime that occurred on campus to utilize the resources. She's worked with students who have been victims of crime in a different county. If you are a student and you have been a victim of a crime, you can work with her, even if it's not in the county, on campus. And you can also speak to her before you've decided if you want to make a police report, and she can talk you through that process. She's not a confidential resource, and that's important to know. She's not like counseling services, but she can work with you and help you decide if you even want to make a police report.
Right.
She's, I think, a very valuable resource to our students, faculty, staff, that I would love if more people knew about.
Yeah, that's
That's
awesome. That's awesome.
I kind of go back to, correct me if I'm wrong, we are the third largest police agency in Hamilton County, correct? Is that,
Yes.
I believe I got that information when I came over. I've been with the university for 6 to 7 years now, and we were talking about safety. You get into that atmosphere where it's dark and you need help or something's wrong, you want to go to a well-lit area as well. Don't stay in that area. Make sure you get around people, go to the front desk, do things of that nature. Just don't sit there and wait for us to come. We always kind of, like our assistant chief just said, make sure you tell us all the information and get to an area where people see you, lights are on, so, that way you feel a little bit more comfortable as well.
Right.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Another question that another student had mentioned was, what are some misconceptions that you feel students have about UCPD? I guess we talked a little bit about some of the resources that you provide and wish that some students knew about, but sometimes students can have a certain perception of our police department. And how can we work to break those down? Obviously, there's things like these, but what other things would you wish that students knew about UCPD?
I think there's probably two things that stand out right off the top of my head. One is we're not here to ruin people's lives. Again, kind of going back to what I mentioned earlier, we understand the role of the university and we understand our role within the university. We want people to use this as a learning environment. We want to be part of that learning environment. We want to do things to take what could be a bad situation, try to make it a little bit more palatable, and make it a learning experience and not ruin somebody's life by creating a criminal record, right?
Yeah.
So that's number one. Number two is quite often we get faced with things like protests. And it could be a protest or it could be somebody exercising their First Amendment right. We've all been on campus before. We've seen people like street preachers that come onto campus. We see right to life protest things that are going on. Not everybody agrees with the message that's being delivered, right? But we don't have the opportunity, we don't have the ability to pick a side. So we have to walk that very fine line of protecting everybody's rights. Just like the person that is standing on the steps spewing what people determine or what people feel is hate speech and directed at them, they have that right to do that. As egregious and as distasteful as it might be, they have that right to do that. We have to protect their right to express their First Amendment rights, just like the person at the bottom of the steps yelling back at them. We have to protect their rights as well, right? So we often get stuck in the middle, and sometimes the optics of that make it look like we're picking sides. We're really not. We're there to make sure that everybody, number one, that everybody is safe, and number two, that everybody is able to express their First Amendment rights.
Yeah, that's great.
Especially just kind of like letting them know ahead of time if there is going to be something that's happening. I know that we've had students kind of ask, like, if I'm going to be expressing my First Amendment rights, like, how do I do that? And making sure to let you guys know is also a really great resource, especially just making sure that you guys are there, whether it's just numbers, like making sure that you guys have the right amount of people there, and like an expected number. So when you guys kind of are let know that that's going to be happening on campus, what kind of like safety procedures do you guys follow? And what does that look like?
So that's a good question. We work very closely with the student affairs folks. So a lot of the student groups will organize stuff through student affairs office. Depending on what the situation is, where it is, time of day, how many people are going to be expected, all that kind of stuff. We may assign an officer or two or more, depending on what the situation is. Again, every situation is going to be a little bit different in how we handle that and how we respond to it. A lot of times, we can have an officer just kind of walk by and make sure everything's okay. Other times, we'll have a full detail on it. By detail, I mean off-duty officers that come in and work, or we'll pull office staff in to assign them to the area, things like that. But it really depends on the situation, where it is, what the topic is, type, is there going to be a high profile person there, for example? Are they collecting money? There's a lot of variables that kind of go into our response to it. So it's kind of one of those things where we have to kind of do a little bit of homework and try to figure out, what to expect here. We're always trying to stay one step ahead because it's easier to stay one step ahead than try to play catch up. So it is a kind of a quirky little thing we got to go through, but I mean, we do it quite frequently. So
Cool. The next question I had was about bystander intervention. How can we as students prepare ourselves to de-escalate a situation if we can? And when it's not, how do we know when it's appropriate, to let this defer to a police officer?
I would never ask anybody to do something that they're not comfortable doing. That would be the number one thing, right? Certainly, if you're not comfortable, trying to handle it yourself, by all means, call us. That's what we do, right? That's what we get paid for. We're the ones that come out and try to diffuse those situations. So, number one, don't do anything that you're not comfortable doing. Number two, call us if you can, and it's safe to do so. And then, it really comes down to the situation, how comfortable you feel. Like if you know the person, if you know any of the parties, if you're able to diffuse it, by all means, try to do so. There's so many different ways to try to diffuse a situation. Again, a lot of variables at play there of, how well do you know the people that are involved? What's the point of contention that's causing all the outrage or the grief there? So probably the biggest thing is don't do anything you're not comfortable doing. That would be the number one answer.
Safety is the number one thing we're talking about. Two, step away, gather information for us. Everybody has a cell phone. Take pictures. Record it. That helps us on the back end when we go to do our reports and stuff like that. So if you can step away and get information for us, that's awesome. That's what we need.
But also, don't assume someone else has called us.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think sometimes people default to recording it versus calling the police.
And sometimes the best thing you can do is just be a really good witness.
Absolutely.
Yeah. When it comes to those de-escalation, tactics or techniques, how can a student learn and prepare if they don't already feel like they are prepared to do that, especially freshmen coming into college? They're probably going to see a lot of things that they haven't seen before. And how can they make sure that they have a little bit of a better understanding about de-escalation in the first place? Are there trainings or resources or even self-defense, things like that?
The university actually offers a bystander intervention training. I can't remember if it's through student wellness. We link to it in some of our safety emails. So the university does have some resources. It's not through public safety.
Yeah. Okay.
Awesome.
Cool.
Well, I guess our last question would be if you could tell one thing to students, maybe incoming or just students in general, what would you want them to know, especially with the fall semester kind of rolling around?
And by extension, let me add real quick that how can students also be in a position to learn about public safety? Not everybody gets a chance to sit with you guys and have the opportunity to talk. Not everybody knows to look at the resources that are being posted by communication. So as a kind of back end of a piggyback off of that question, how can they put themselves in situations where they are interacting with the police department?
So I think probably the best answer for both of those questions is we are here for a resource. We're here as a resource, right? Anytime anybody has any questions and you see an officer out on the road, just stop and ask a question.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for.
Absolutely.
When we look at other police agencies, like take your local police agency. They probably have like a school resource officer where the students start to get comfortable with that officer. That's who they always go to at the school, right?
Yeah.
If you think about it, every one of us in our department is a school resource officer. So we want to have that same type of a relationship where a student that has a question or is uneasy about something can stop any of us and say, hey, can you help me out here? That's the kind of relationship that we are trying to get with our students. We want to be open. We want to be a resource to everybody. We have a lot of really good community engagement events that we have throughout the year. I think we
got 7-on-7 basketball.
Perfect.
We invite all the students to come out and play in that. That's February. That's our way of trying to bridge that gap as we talk about talking to the kids while they're playing basketball. We coach them. It's a big-time interaction piece. We also have other engagements where we're walking out and just talking to the students. You know, we set up over at TUC where we're engaging with the students and stuff of that nature. So we're definitely out there trying to bridge that gap. I keep referring back to that because that's special to us. That's definitely special to us. And also, we're out and about. If you guys see us, please talk to us. You know, I don't want us to be, or you guys to be standoffish like, oh, I don't know what he's thinking. We have some great police officers who work for us, great police officers who want that interaction. You know, so please don't hesitate. Ask us questions. Ask us whatever you need because that's the beauty in this job. You know, I came from another agency where all I did was went from call to call to call to call. Here, we got the opportunity to be community-oriented police officers.
Yeah.
So we definitely have time to, you know, get to know you.
That's awesome.
I'm also going to throw a couple specific dates out.
Perfect. That's
On
great.
September 9th, we are doing a ice cream truck to help invite everyone to meet your public safety team, and we'll give you ice cream. And then on October 3rd, October 3rd, we will be doing, this will be our second year doing the Bearcats and Badges E-Bowl, where we invite students to come in, compete in a video game tournament against our officers.
That's awesome.
And you win amazing prizes. And this year we're going to time it with a UC football game so we can have a watch party. So anyone you know who's into video games, please look out for that. We'll be announcing that.
Awesome.
And then I'm just going to plug our social media.
Yeah.
We post a lot of information on our social media. We're on Facebook and Instagram. We just launched our TikTok channel, finally.
Perfect.
So please keep an eye on that, too. We post a lot of information there.
This is me being silly. Don't forget about Demo Day.
Well, what's the date for Demo Day?
Demo Day. It's October 17th.
Okay.
And what we do, we have a lot of other agencies come out and join us. You guys are walking around. You get to interact with not only us, but other agencies.
Yeah.
So that's huge. That's kind of like my little thing right there. So we grill out. We have food for everybody. It's an awesome day. Definitely an awesome day.
As a criminal justice student, we love demo days.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
There we go.
I will say one more thing, especially for incoming freshmen that are kind of getting out for the first time, right? We look at a lot of freshmen, and one of the challenges that we have is we do education throughout the year, but every year we get a new group of students that we have to kind of
reacclimate.
Exactly, right? And a lot of times students coming here as a freshman, particularly, it's their first time away from home. It's their first time out on their own, and they don't really have the life experience of a seasoned college student, right? So trying to get people to be more mindful of their stuff, right? Being aware of their surroundings, making sure that they lock their doors, making sure that the stuff in their car is really not visible. And then, you know, at high school, when you're in high school, it's not uncommon to have your laptop and you get up and you walk down the hallway, you go to the bathroom, get a drink, something like that, you come back and your laptop's there, right? Theft is a crime of opportunity. It's our number one crime that we have on campus. And just getting people to be more mindful of their stuff and not leaving their stuff unattended, that is huge. So that public safety aspect of being on campus, it's not just the police job, it's everybody's job. So if everybody does their part, then it makes everybody else's jobs a lot easier. The other issue that we have is bike theft and scooter theft. If you have a bike or a scooter, please lock it up. Please don't use a cable lock. They're very easily defeated with wire cutters. If you don't have a U-lock, come and see us. We'll give you one.
And do you guys also hand out steering wheel locks, or are those ordered? Okay.
We do. As she said, it's for free. You guys would come up to the Edwards 3, and you guys will walk in. I think they have to fill out some stuff, and then as far as the serial number goes.
For the U-locks, for the bikes and scooters, we have a registration form on our website.
Okay.
You could fill it out in our lobby if you didn't fill it out beforehand. For the steering wheel locks, it's until we run out, but you don't need to do anything. Just come to our lobby and ask for one.
Wow.
Awesome.
Very cool. Very
Awesome.
cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's all we got.
That's
Yeah.
all you got. I thought you guys were going to have more than that. I feel like we could go another half an hour.
Right,
You guys want
right.
Another 30 minutes or anything? It was,
I bet we probably could.
It
Yeah.
was great. It was great. I mean, it was a pleasure having you guys on.
Yeah.
It kind of turning the tables a little bit. Obviously, having our assistant chief here to answer all the great questions. Like I said, he is a pro. He's been here for a while, so he's definitely a pro. And, you know, our PIO officer, Kelly Cantwell, here to help out. So, you know, I'm not allowed to talk loud. She wrote me a note, but I am about to talk loud. This is season 2. We're excited. Thank you guys for coming on board. We
Thank
also got to say
you.
thanks to
1819
Always.
Innovation Hub, the Esports Lounge. We are grateful to you for letting us use your space.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
This
Season
has been
2.
Awesome.
Yeah,
well, thank you
season
so,
2.
so
Thank you for
much.
having
This
us.
Has been
Yeah.
great. This has been great.
It's been awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.